What constitutes value for a guy in this day and age is what's different for a girl. Guess what? The girls don't need your money, guys, okay? They don't need that. And guess what? They're not really that concerned with what you look like and the way that you are. They're not as shallow as you, okay? So don't project your own reality. Some of them are, but many of them are not. So look, what communicates to a woman, not, I want to date this guy for 6 months, to make him chase me so he can be my provider, but I want this guy now, as in tonight, as in right now, are the qualities that show strength in you, all right? They show that level of authenticity, congruence, and real resourcefulness and cleverness and, boom, just like that realness about you. That's what she's looking for. And this is communicated in something called subcommunication. Now here's the difference. Guys, how long does it take you to decide if you think a girl's attractive or not? How long? Half a second. Like that, right? Because you're looking quickly at how she looks. For a woman, how long does it take her to decide if you have all those qualities?
A few minutes.
A couple hours. Think about it. Can I train a guy? Could you give me the most self-hating, nerdy guy in the world? Even yourself. Say you're going to teach somebody. Could you take the most self-hating, nerdy guy in the world and teach him how to approach a woman for the first 10 seconds and come across well for 10 seconds? Could you do that?
Yes.
Pretty easy, right? Just, give good eye contact, speak well, just walk up. Dude, it's just 10 seconds. You can do that, right? Okay. So for a man, he's pretty much willing to decide whether or not to have sex with a woman very quickly. A woman needs time. And so unlike a man who just looks quickly at visual cues, women look at what's called behavioral cues. So think a lot about that. Remember that distinction. It's just a simple little distinction. It's called visual versus behavioral. That's the core. Look, when I have confidence in myself that, I don't need to go the superficial route. I don't need to go the social conditioning route. That simple little distinction right here, visual versus behavioral. Men tend to be visual. Women tend to be behavioral, like they're looking at your behavior patterns. That's what makes me know that this stuff works, all right? Whenever you start to doubt yourself, remember that simple distinction. That's how you know, guys. That is how you know this stuff works. Women are looking at your behavior patterns. They're looking at what's called subcommunication. This is the communication that goes beneath the layers, all right? If you say, hello, how are you doing? What's your name? Where are you from? That's the surface layer of communication. What women are looking at is called the subcommunication. It's the communication beneath all of that. So look, guys are turned on instantly like a light switch. Girls are turned on gradually like a volume knob. Now, when we're talking about subcommunication, there's two types. The first one is the cues in your behavior, and the second are the cues in how people react to you. And both are strong forms of subcommunication. Think about a celebrity who does not have very strong behavior at all. He's weak. But nonetheless, because he's a celebrity, he has a lot of people reacting to him. As a result, women might feel attracted even though he's a chode. Likewise, take a guy who is not a celebrity, a normal guy, and he meets a girl one-on-one. Say that you meet a girl one-on-one, there's not anybody else reacting to you, but she can still look at cues in your behavior and make a decision on you. Likewise, you could be in a situation where you have both, okay? All three work equally well. In the same way that a celebrity can get countless girls just based on how people are reacting to him, even if his own behavior is not that strong. If your behavior is strong, even if you don't have a lot of people reacting to you, you can be successful. If you have both, that's also fine. Now look, women are better at reading subtle social cues than men are. I understand that. Most women are better at reading subtle social cues. Do you think it's impossible to be able to learn how to read subcommunication as well as a woman?
No. Yes.
No, it is. You can do it. You can learn it. You can learn to read subcommunication as well, if not better than a woman with time. All right? You can read it as well, if not better. Now look, here's some examples. Eye contact, vocal tonality, body language, your sense of individuality, humor and playfulness. By the way, we're going to go through these in much more detail later. Comfort in your environment, indifference to what people think of you, your concepts and personal boundaries of what you will and will not accept, your control over your own emotions and your own sense of reality, your confidence to say what's on your mind and stand out, your self-directedness, conviction, and grasp of your own standards, your sense of entitlement and willingness to go for what you want. That's a big one, guys. Your sense of entitlement and willingness to go for what you want. You see a woman you want, you go for it. And the types of things that you say and the emotion behind the ways you say them, all in relation to the other people there. This is the subcommunication. It's more important and says so much more than the words that you say. Think about it in evolutionary terms. Think about it real carefully. Say that you're the boss caveman. Something happens, you're no longer the boss caveman. How do the women know to drop you immediately?
It is the power shifts. They just feel the status change.
They can feel it. Yeah, the caveman's behavior changes. Parts of his demeanor change. Likewise, what if you have a chody caveman, and then as the chody caveman ages, he gets new status from the tribe? How do the women know to immediately start hooking up with him?
He starts behaving differently.
Starts behaving differently, all right? Real simple, real basic, simple stuff. Now here's where things get vexing as a guy. When you learn this stuff, it's really tough because you're learning it and you learn the initial subcommunication of an attractive guy. And so what happens is that a woman has multiple personalities. She has one personality that she gives to people who are attractive. Then she has another personality that she gives to people who are unattractive. And so when you walk up and initially you're communicating attractive qualities about yourself, she's going to react to you very well and say, "You're so great, I'm so glad I met you." But then when you fall back in your old chody behaviors, suddenly she just blows you off immediately. And this is what happens. See, for a woman, her appearance is not going to change that quickly. You could dump goober all over her, and she would still look relatively similar to what she looks like. So as a man, you've decided quickly. For a woman, however, your behaviors can change second to second. They change in real time, and they change quickly. This is why when you're speaking to a woman, you can be speaking to her, and it's going amazing, and then all of a sudden, it just starts to go downhill. It just starts to go down the toilet. Because initially, you were behaving strong. You were not attached to the outcome. You were having fun. You were in your own reality. But then the next minute, you start, you go, "This girl's so cute. Oh, man, it's going to be great if I hook up with this girl." Suddenly, you're coming from a scarcity mindset, not an abundance mindset. She loses attraction. She walks. She goes, "Oh, I have to go back to my friends." You say hi to her later. She doesn't even wave back because now you're in the other zone. It is constantly shifting. If you want to imagine what poor women deal with, imagine if you had this incredibly attractive girl. You go like this, and then you turn back, and she had like blimped out, and like now she's wearing a muumuu, and she has a giant mustache. That is what women deal with for guys. What's that? Can you change it back? Sure. Yeah, you can. But once you've blown it, it's better just not to have blown it. But the point is that sure, you can, things can change, of course. But anyway, when the woman sees these behaviors in you, she's going to feel attracted. And so even if logically speaking, you're not the type of guy that she goes for, emotionally, she's going to be responding to you. Some of you guys might have wondered why it is that a lot of the guys who have jobs as teaching dating are still able to be successful with women, right? Because wouldn't that sound funny? Like you'd think that having a job like mine, that as soon as a woman finds out, "Oh, you teach guys how to meet women," she's immediately gonna be dissuaded, right? She's gonna say, "Oh God, no, none of that," right? Well, that happens maybe 2% of the time. But the other 98% of the time, it makes no difference. Like, you could tell a girl, or rather, I can tell a girl, "Yeah, this is my job, real social dynamics," and she just goes, "Oh, okay," and it doesn't even register. It's completely outside her reality. It doesn't register. The words that you say very rarely register to a woman. You're thinking that they are, but they're not, okay? This is why I tell guys, you can talk in total gibberish to a woman. The stuff that you can say can make no sense whatsoever at all. And it can still be totally fine. Because what she's really looking at is the subcommunication. Especially if she's becoming attracted, the more attracted she's becoming, the more the actual words that you're saying are really irrelevant. And this is why when guys are doing things like, "Oh, look at this watch," or like, "Oh, I have this nice job," they don't realize that they're cutting off that nice flow between you and the girl. like you've got that nice flow of communication between you and the girl, and you're building that chemistry. As soon as you go logic on her, you try to logically convince her, like, I can do this for you, or I have this stuff, all that nice sub-communication that was going on between you and the girl just got cut off. Typically. Not always. Don't go getting paranoid on me. Anything that I say, you need to experiment with it to understand what it is that I'm saying, okay? But the point is, generally speaking, that nice flow of sub-communication and attraction building and chemistry building, as soon as you go logical on her, like, let me do this for you, or let me show you this that I have, you've cut off the process. You have snipped it, all right? Now, when we think about, what that means for you, your value is not static. You know how a girl's value is fairly static to you? Well, at least on the surface. Well, your value is not static. Women are always feeling it. Second by second, minute by minute, they're feeling it. Your behavior can change within seconds. Traction is a very fast and straightforward process. Get that in your heads, guys. Okay. Attraction is straightforward.
Attraction is straightforward.
Good, good. Attraction happens within seconds.
Attraction happens within seconds.
Good, good. It's so fast. And this is why, if you're a guy at home who's watching this, and you've got that one special girl that you think you're going to get, and you think this program is going to fix that, you're mistaken. Because attraction either happens or it doesn't. She likes you or she doesn't. With women, I personally come from an abundance mindset. I go talk to a girl. If she likes me, that's nice. If she doesn't like me, it's done. I would never be thinking, how could I change her mind? I would never be thinking like that. I would always just be thinking, it's either on or it's not. Obviously, as things progress, when you're meeting a girl, they can go like that, and that's all part of the game. That's fine. But generally speaking, I don't get crushes on girls that don't like me, okay? Who here's ever had a crush on a girl that didn't like them, okay? It's a fucking fool thing to have. It makes no sense. Not only is it just completely counterproductive, but it's actually shutting you down. Because if you have a crush on a girl before you go see her and you are attached to the outcome, how's that going to change your behavior?
Do you come off very passive, or you come off reactive?
Reactive, attached to the outcome, scarcity, not the one who is the attractive one in the situation. Mm-hmm. Speak up. Anyone that talks, speak up.
Yeah. Okay. I remember a weird experience when I was teaching high school. It was very weird. At the time, I couldn't figure what was going on. But I would have these very attractive girls, like 15, 16. They would be like throwing themselves at me. I had to actually doing a lot of like IODing them. I would show up wearing a wedding ring and tell them I was married because it actually got. And then I didn't really figure out until now what was going on, because it was like when I was in high school, these girls that same age, they wouldn't pay any attention to me. When I was a teacher up there, and I was the alpha male, and I was controlling the room, the women were all over me. They'd ask, "Do you have a girlfriend? Are you married?" They were like, it was actually ridiculous.
Yeah, because think of it this way.
Or they just wanted it.
If you want to, yeah, and want to. So the thing is, no, I mean he's absolutely right. And the thing is, like with, say that you're the, if we again when we're when we talk about like evolution, okay, and what's interesting is that in learning how to be successful with women, we do talk a lot about like evolution or cavemen and stuff like that. And I understand from an outsider's perspective, it seems totally wacky and kind of weird. Like, why would you be bringing this up? And I understand that, and it is counterintuitive. But the reason that we talk about it is because we're trying to get to the root of what it is, and that's why we talk about it. Yeah. So basically, if you think about the caveman who is the most attractive, and he has women swarming him. So when he talks to a woman, is he coming from a place of abundance or scarcity? Abundance, right? So, look, try to imagine it this way. If you have had sex with like 5 girls today, and you go to approach some other girl to talk to her, are you going to feel nervous? No. Of course not, right? So the thing is, how about if you have just like not been laid in a year, okay? And there's a girl that might like you, okay? You go, God, I really like you, okay? Because there's that, it creates neediness, and that's why neediness is that's one of the reasons why neediness is incredibly unattractive. It's very hard for a woman to sleep with a guy who's needy, because basically what she's saying to herself is, if I sleep with this guy, his kids will also be needy, and then that's going to be the last generation of kids. okay? Because they're not gonna get laid themselves. If I have a son with this guy, so I'm screwed. All right? So that is why a woman is not going to sleep with a guy that's coming from a scarcity position. Look, obviously it happens. All of us probably, were successful with one or two women at some point, even coming from a scarcity reality. It's not totally the end of the world, but it's certainly not it's not going to lead to that rock star success that we talk about in the sales copy of this program, right? Okay. So, all right, look. Women aren't judging you on money, looks, none of that. They're judging you on value, the way you act, the way people react to you, and the deeper level of who you are. Any other qualities are not the real deal, and women are simply not wired to have a response to them. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Let's go deeper on this topic. We've kind of laid the foundation, right? Like we've recovered the basics. We've looked at the basics here, all right? So now we're going to go deeper in to what all this stuff means, what it amounts to. Objectification. On some level, you've always known that women were looking at you as an object of value. On some level, you've sensed it. At some point, I don't care when, you have sensed that women are looking at you as an object of value. You have sensed it. How do you know it? If nothing else, on some level, you have looked at them as an object of value. On some level. So you've known it for a long time. And the tendency is to try to objectify yourself, to try to turn yourself into something that has value. That's the tendency. So we look around, social conditioning. We look at advertising in the media, which we're surrounded by all the time. We look at our peers. And what does it tell us? Does it tell you if you want to be attractive to women, you should become more authentic? Does it say if you want to be attractive to women, you should become stronger as a human being? If you want to become attractive to women, should you go out and do the things that would make you really become a man? Well, that would take a long time. Okay? That's a long time. How about this? What if you look like the guy who you saw on TV? He had a lot of girls. Isn't that simple? Isn't that a beautifully simple, beautifully elegant? Isn't it elegant that you could go out and you could just work a simple, straightforward job that you know, it's not complex, right? You just work your job. Work the job. With the job, you get the money, right? Who here's ever seen Scarface? Okay? What do you get first? The money. What do you get second? What do you get third? The girls, right? How could you not? It sounds great, right? And it's Scarface. Like, that guy's like the coolest guy of all time. And he's telling you this. So, it's simple. It's straightforward. You get the money, and then everything works out for you. Become like the guy that you see on TV, because you see it, right? You see that guy on TV. You can see the products he has. You see the way he looks, and he's got the woman. He's like, okay? He's got the girl. Boom. And your unconscious mind, you don't know that you're thinking this. There's no way that you know that you're thinking it, but your unconscious mind says, oh, that's how you get girls? Okay, cool. Great. I can do that. I can handle that. That makes sense. I can piece that together into my reality. So, become like the guy that you see on TV. See, society has in many ways evolved to maintain social order. It is designed to give you a set of achievable goals that you can strive towards and meet. That's really what it is, right? Society gives you a set of goals, right? First you go to school, then you go to high school, then college, then you get this type of job, then you save up for your retirement fund, and then after all is said and done, when you're like in your 60s, you can go retire. Now it'd be called a successful life. So it sets that for you, right? Society gives you never-ending mental stimulation. Endless stimulation, doesn't it? Society gives you what? What does it give you? It gives you a magic pill for everything. It gives you the answer to all your problems. Because the supply will always meet the demand. In a good system, if you have a demand, some kind of supply will come to meet it, won't it? And the system works, right? The system will take care of you. You can be the spoke in the wheel, and if you believe in the system, everything will be fine. That is what the unconscious assumption is, okay? There's no conspiracy about this. There's not like some guys like sitting like smoking man sitting at the table like, you know, oh yes, we'll give them these little goals, the little rat race that it is. It's not like that. It's just the way that it evolves. It's no one's responsible for it, okay? And now we're at a point where not only is, you know, the magic pill expected, it's demanded. I demand it. Give me the magic pill. I demand it. That's what people want. Isn't it funny when a situation arises where there is no solution to your problems and people are just outraged, right? Like with Virgin Airlines, just outraged because they were part of. Because when they don't get what they wanted, you're actually messing with their whole belief system, because it's saying that you cannot just be brain atrophied and live in the system and have it take care of you. Society is in many ways a lot like a Hollywood movie. There is a good guy. There is a bad guy. And there's an ending that reinforces social norms, isn't it? Think a lot about that, guys. Classic Hollywood movie. There's a good guy. There's the bad guy. It's real simple, right? It's not confusing. It's not like actually most people think they're good and everyone has different opinions and people do stuff to each other they forget about, and at the end of the day, just a lot of shit happens. It's not like that. There's a good guy, great Hollywood movie, there's a good guy, there's a bad guy, and then there's an uplifting message. Go America at the end, saying that the system works, right? The system is good. For a little while there, we were thinking that our existing beliefs could be wrong, and those beliefs were threatened. But no, at the end, we discover that there is a good reason to have those beliefs. That's your classic Hollywood movie. Okay, that's the way that it tends to work. And there's a simplicity there, right? A simplicity. Like, everyone thinks they're the good guys. Everyone says, you know, our country's good, this other country's bad, right? Everybody believes that. Everyone's on the side of God. You know, God is on our side. Doesn't matter who you are, all right? And so the thing is, people like that simplicity. They don't want to think. They don't want to look at the multi-dimensions of the way that the world works. They don't want to have to dig in deep. They don't want to be required to have to be aware all the time. They want to just get their beliefs and then go to sleep and allow those beliefs to take care of everything. That is the magic pill society in which we live. And so what happens is we believe that there's a product that can solve everything. If you just go to work and you make your money, your problems with women will get solved. How many of you in here have had friends that maybe were studying to become lawyers or doctors, and they said, well, you know, I can't meet women right now, but I'm just going to focus on studying because once I become a doctor or lawyer, I'm going to have it all taken care of. Who's had friends that said that? Okay? That's that belief in the system. Of course, what's going to happen when that doctor or lawyer does get an attractive girlfriend, and then he's gone for the weekend and she goes out clubbing with her friends? She's going to meet some other bartender dude who's going to go take her behind the dumpster and hook up with her, right? His sweetheart, you know? How many of you have had, look, how many guys in this room have either you yourselves or had friends that hooked up with a girl in a bathroom? All these guys, right? And most of those girls will marry if they're attractive. A lot of them will marry lawyer chodes and doctor chodes and all that stuff who believed in the system. And they thought that their sweetheart was the way that she was, right? So the thing is that, and then do you think that her behavior is going to stop if that guy's not attractive enough to hold her attention? No. The behavior will stay consistent. People's behavior generally is consistent. So, look.
It doesn't meet their emotional needs.
Exactly. Yeah. If you've not figured out how to meet a woman's emotional needs, you know, how are you going to have a relationship, right? How are you going to have a long-term relationship? But most people, of course, want to become the guy that they see on TV. Can this stuff give you the temporary fix? Can this stuff give you anything beyond a temporary fix of confidence? Of course not. Of course not. You guys remember Fight Club?
Yes.
What's he say? You are not what? What's that? You are not a special snowflake. What else, guys? You are not your what? You are not the contents of your wallet. You are not what else? You are not your furniture. You are not your fucking khakis. Right? And that inspired a lot of me because, to tell you the truth, when I first I watched the movie, and when I was first exposed to that, wow, I was like, sitting as I sat there, right, like in my house, in my car, and like all this stuff, right, that I worked so hard to get. I'm like, I'm not, right? And ooh, isn't that funny? See, these things, all these superficial things through the system cannot inspire confidence in you. They will not inspire the type of behavior, characteristics, individuality that's necessary to be really rock star level success with women. That it is not capable of doing that. It is not in its nature, and it is not possible that that could ever happen. Ultimately, these things are hollow and unsatisfying. Living up to other people's standards can give you a temporary fix of confidence, but it will not give you a real sense of value or self-esteem. Where does real confidence come from?
Inside.
Inside, right? Your sense of identity, your sense of who you are, your own sense of values, own sense of integrity. That's where that kind of stuff comes from. We're going to explore that a lot this weekend. Let's play the game of what if. What if? Let's think about it. What would happen if you guys did play the game of society? Let's say that you played it to the hilt. You really played it good. You got the looks. You got the money. Okay? You had the respectable job, everything. What if? Right? What if you did that? What if you went and got cosmetic surgery? What if you took steroids?
It might give you the confidence to act in a way that creates attraction, but if it didn't, it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I would think you might get the girl, but then you'll end up losing her because you can't keep her,
That's common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, once a prop fades or something like that, then you could be like in the middle of like your like sergeant woman, and then all of a sudden like the lines run out, or you don't know what to do next, and it's like, what do I do here? I've got all this attraction, and
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing.
You're in a huge fucking identity crisis once you discover that all this was for nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's gotta be shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, because it took you like 30 years to get there, right? Like on top, you're like, yeah, I'm king of the hill. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Identity crisis, like, oh, all this shit spinning and all that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your
That's the
confidence
thing.
is based on external.
Yep, confidence based on external pillars. Yeah. And the thing is this. Here's why it can never work, okay? Here's why it will never, ever, ever work, at least on a long term. By a superficial value system, all right? When we think of society and advertising, the media, we would call that a superficial value system. By a superficial set of values, an attractive girl is the pinnacle of achievement. She's as high as it gets. You could be a doctor who saved thousands of lives. You traveled to Africa. You saved thousands of lives. You're successful. All that great stuff. But at a nightclub, who's getting in the door first?
Hot girl, fake boobs.
The miniskirt.
Yeah. The miniskirt, right? You've got a girl whose ex-boyfriend bought her a pair of fake breasts, right? She doesn't eat that much because she does coke, and now she's skinny. But she figured out how to do her hair nice and squeeze herself into a skirt and some pumps. And that girl will have more value than you do. Straight up, dudes. She will. She will have more value than you if you believe in the superficial value system. Like, if that's your belief system, that I let society dictate to me what's valuable, and you believe that, when you walk up to her, you're going to feel nervous. You're going to feel like you're going up with the empty cup and you're wanting her to fill it. Because you are, no matter how high you get as a man, no matter how high, you cannot win this game. Except maybe, the only exceptions would be someone like maybe a Hugh Hefner or something like that. Like the rare case could beat the game, like by starting like the fucking mansion where like hot girls have to come to like get discovered and stuff. Maybe you could beat the game. But this is a game that is it's rigged against you. You can't win this one. It doesn't matter what you do. Play it as long as you want. Play it as hard as you want. It is rigged against you. You can't win this game, okay? The social conditioning game that's got you running and running and running and running and running, good little consumer, right? You can't win it. What's the best way to get somebody, if they have 11 pairs of shoes, what's the best way to get them to buy their 12th pair of shoes?
Convince
They're
them
all
they need
style.
one more.
What's that?
Convince them that the other 11 aren't good.
Yeah, like if you've got 11 pairs of shoes, and then you're at the store, right? And you're looking at that pair number 12, and you're looking at it. Are you buying it for its utility?
No.
Are you buying it for, what could you be buying it for?
Comfort?
Maybe comfort, but you've got 11 pairs of shoes. You didn't get a comfortable pair of shoes, right? See, that's the thing, right? So what are you buying it for? What is the driving force behind your consumer behavior pattern? You want that little piece of self-esteem. Okay.
Buying for the belief that you're going to have the edge over someone else.
Sure. Here, look. It's like this. Okay. Pair number 11. Will you buy it? Can you just do me a favor and buy it?
Sure.
Okay, here's your self-esteem. Okay, it's been about, okay, so now you're walking out tonight, right? You got a new pair of shoes. You feel good?
Yep.
Feels good. Would you guys say it feels good to have a new pair of shoes? Feels good, huh?
Yeah.
Right? How long does it feel good for? When's the novelty run out? Couple weeks? Fuck you. Fuck you. Okay? You want your self-esteem?
Yeah.
It's right here. Okay? Number 12. Let's go.
Okay.
Number 12. You want it?
Okay.
These ones are real expensive. They're nicer than your other ones. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Here. There you go. Okay. How many? A couple more weeks? Fuck you. Okay. I got it back now, right?
Yeah.
See, now you gotta buy more. Okay.
Yeah.
You got a nice couch at home?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. You can have it for a bit. Okay. Do you have a car?
Yeah.
Is it brand new, used?
Had it for a while.
Fuck you. Okay? All right? Okay? Do you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd actually leave this with you now to be nice if I need it. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, so look, I'll give it to you at the end of the seminar. But look, that's what advertising does. You know, because you're like, look, on one level, it's nice to have new clothes, right? Like, it's nice to have like a nice fresh press outfit and, you know, look good and stuff like that. I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But has it ever occurred to you that maybe you should feel that way all the time? How counterintuitive is that? That the way that you feel when you have a nice pair of shoes or a nice haircut or a nice shirt is how you should feel all the time. Right. Like, you guys are hearing this right now and you're like, but why? Why would I feel that way? I don't have the nice pair of shoes. Why would I feel that way? Does anyone here know people that do feel that way about themselves all the time? At least one or two examples? Just a couple of you? Yeah? That's great. I'm glad that at least some of you do. I do. You know? One example, you guys see Tim in Transformations? He'd be an example of that. You know, he just shaved his head recently. He doesn't really care. He said he's sick of using magic mist. He's like, I'm sick of all this chode magic mist. So I shaved it. All right? And that's the thing, is like, some people just feel that way about themselves all the time. And you guys can too. Right? There's nothing stopping you. But see, that's that fabric of consumer culture that we live in. And we really believe that, like, you know, a lot of this high society stuff is like a big deal. Who here's ever been to maybe a party where, like, maybe if you're out in New York, right, in some exclusive party in New York, where maybe some of the people there come from quote-unquote old money or stuff like that. It's like all classy. Anyone ever been to something like that, right? And have you ever felt yourselves kind of like in a trap where, like, maybe you feel like they have something over you? Has anyone felt like that? Yeah. Think about what that really is. If your parents gave you your money, right? So what? Your parents gave you some money. Okay, I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of. If my parents gave me money, I would use that to do all sorts of great things. You know, I mean, really, I'd use that to really improve myself and become the person I'm capable of being. But the point is that, what is that? It's an anomaly, right? Like, your parents gave you some money. It's an anomaly. And that's the thing, is that when you carry yourself around someone who's involved in, say, high society or something like that, the inclination is to look up to them, even though they've done nothing, right? But that's that superficial set of values, okay, which is completely bizarre, all right? Even take looks, something like looks. If you say we want to talk genetics here, first of all, people are born to look different in order to have genetic variety, because genetic variety is necessary for a healthy species. But second of all, is the way that, like, a good-looking man now in, say, a GQ magazine, does he look the same as a good-looking man in the 60s?
No.
How about the women? No. Right? You guys realize that in terms of what's considered to be good-looking or not, it's like some douchebag sitting in Italy choosing, like, we're going to have skinny models this year. It's fab. Muscles are out. Skinny is in, right? Or they're like, no, we're going to pump it up. Okay? And then that's what it gets called the standard of good-looking. Okay? It's not even a genetic thing. It's like weird, random advertising people, and I've got nothing against them. You know, they're not like, we're going to destroy the self-esteem of society. They're not thinking like that. They're just trying to be creative. But the point is that this stuff is dictating the way that people feel about themselves. It's crazy. It's insanity. It's so utterly stupid, like, I can't even, we need a new word that goes beyond stupid to describe social conditioning the way that most guys are walking around feeling about themselves. Do we have what's a better, more extreme word than stupid? Can we? What is it?
Ludicrous.
Ludicrous, what else?
Retarded.
Retarded. Okay? Social conditioning is retarded. All right? Okay? So that's, it's got to be up in the head. So, look, your possessions can be a reflection of what you've done in life, in the sense that if you've worked hard, something you love, and you have the possessions that show it, they can be a reflection of that, and they can be for your own enjoyment. And I'd recommend that you guys go out and you get yours because life is short, and that's fine. But that's for you, all right? That is absolutely for you. I have an equal level of respect. Like, I live in Honolulu. There's some people who literally just live on the beach. They have a cheap place that they live, a little side job, and they surf all day. And they love that. They love to surf. And I respect that equally as someone who builds their own company in some area that they love. The point is you're doing what you love, whatever that is. If you love to make money because you love the work that you're doing, then go out and do it, all right? If you want to just chill and surf, go out and do it. I don't care what you're doing, as long as it's what you want to do, and it's not what you're doing to impress somebody else or to live up to somebody else's standards that you didn't even create. That's all that I would ask of you, and I would hope that you would ask that of yourselves. Anyway, look, we have these drives, okay? So we have drives. We want to be liked. We want to have friends. We want to have girls, all that stuff. These are natural drives, natural, healthy drives. We have them, and they're important. And thank God we have them. Okay? They're really, really important. And while we have these drives, to enhance ourselves, and that they're healthy, there is that other level that you've got to think about, which is that the advertisers are aware of these drives, all right? And they can push these buttons repeatedly. Politicians are aware of these drives. Propaganda campaigns are aware of these drives. And when you have these drives, and everyone who knows shit knows that you have these drives, it's like a set of exposed buttons that they can just push on, like you're in just a stimulus responder idiot, over and over and over, just like here, this, no, I'm taking it away. No, this, no, I'm taking it away. And that game is getting played and played and played and played, and it keeps society going. Look, you guys might, I don't like this capitalism stuff. Really? You want to go live in Venezuela under Hugo Chavez? You know what I'm saying, right? So, it's not that it's a bad thing. I mean, we want a healthy economy, right? I like a healthy economy as much as everybody else. But at the same time, what it did to me. And one thing that's interesting, I've done this rehearsal now for the Blueprint Decoded. This is my 5th Blueprint Decoded big seminar that I've ran. I've also taught in boot camp every weekend. And I've noticed that whenever I do this first part, like whenever I come to this first section where I talk about social conditioning, I have this little, almost like this tension in my body and a little bit of an indignant vibe about me, kind of like, like that. And it's almost like a different vibe I have during this section, the rest of the seminar. And the reason why I was trying to figure it out is because of what it did to me. And I don't want to claim that I'm a victim or anything like that, because I'm not claiming that. But did I walk around completely paranoid the first 20 years of my life about what other people think of me? Yeah, I did. That's 2 decades, dudes. It's 2 decades that I walked around. Did I walk around doing stupid things like going up to that girl with chocolates and and then having a crush on her and occupying, monopolizing all my mental energy for weeks at a time? Yes. Did I have a mental breakdown when my girlfriend dumped me in college, a complete mental breakdown, stripping me 6 months of my life? Yes. Did I walk around just paranoid, just basically, I can remember my sister she worked at a sports store and gave me a pair of $200 sunglasses, and I was too scared to wear them to school because I thought that the kids would say, you're not cool enough to wear those types of sunglasses, even though it was a gift, right? Did that happen? Yes. So the point is, yeah, I do have a little bit of, I'm kind of pissed off, right? I'm kind of pissed. And I'm not only kind of pissed about it, but I'm kind of pissed for what I see it doing to other people. Because I don't feel that human beings are meant to live this life. I don't feel that we're meant to live like this, I mean, I guess what we're meant to do, it's pretty hard to say what we're meant to do or what not meant to do. We're entering some slippery territory there, but I don't feel that that's an ideal. And I want to see change. I want to see people living, authentically. And this is why one of the reasons why I cover this so deeply. But beyond that, look, really think about the power that this gives you. Out in a nightclub meeting women, right? In a restaurant, wherever it is. And you've got an entire room. Because look, I'm going to tell you straight. Every quote-unquote guy that's really successful with women understands these concepts here that we've talked about on a very deep level. And he looks through a room, and he knows that most people there, what he sees, kind of like Neo in the Matrix, right? He sees people in fear, right? Like, what do other people think of me? He sees the people like the guys up on the death row wall, right? And doing, what guys do? You ever see guys that are like dancing at the club, but not because they want to, because they're trying to fit in? So they're kind of like that, right? And then maybe like some lyric comes on, like, and I wish I never met her at all. Right? Boom, boom, like that, okay? And that's like, you see this in the nightclub all the time. Jeffy was telling me about a guy that the Rihanna song Umbrella came on. He pulled out his umbrella. He was like that. So, so ridiculous. And you see this, okay? And you're in the club and you know this, right? Or in the restaurant or in the mall or wherever you are. And you see this social conditioning brainwashing. On the one end of the continuum, you have like the hardcore stuff. Like the guy's like, let me buy you a drink, my dear. And then like, on the other side of the continuum, you have like, maybe not like the obvious chode behaviors, but just like the subtle stuff. Like just like that little bit of vibe of he's operating through other people's intentions, right? He's not really himself. He's kind of I don't want to say a zombie or something, because that's really extreme, but he's not him. What's that? Robot? Yeah, like robot. Like he's not him. The Borg mind. Yeah, the Borg mind, right? Like he's just not who he's not. Okay, my friend Nathan has an expression. He says, "Be who you're meant to be," and he says that whenever he has an issue and he's looking at his own behavior, he says, "Am I being who I'm meant to be?" And if the answer is no, then he'll stop. And that's the thing, is that you've got to be the person who you're meant to be. You've got to be acting through your own intentions. That doesn't mean to be inconsiderate, because I think someone that acts inconsiderate in a negative way or in a win-lose way is being a dick. But the point is, you've got to be acting through your own intentions. That's where the social conditioning comes in. People might say, why do we need to focus so much on social conditioning? Why do we need to identify social conditioning? Why? And you see a girl, right? You see that girl, just a cute girl, completely harmless. It's a no-lose situation by going and talking to her. But at the same time, there's something that's holding you back. Maybe you need more money. Maybe you need to look better. Maybe if you look like that cool guy from TV, you could do it. But there's something that's holding you back. And a lot of that is that social programming that has gone on for the first several decades of your life. Look, people think accumulating more trendy stuff is the fastest, easiest, most effective way of filling the hole in their self-esteem. What is the best kind of consumer? Best consumers. Dissatisfied. Mild paranoia about his status. Like a mild sort of general buzz of confusion about who he is. No identity. And no values. Like he does not know what he wants in life. He just wants what other people want. On an even deeper level, if we want to go even deeper, television and professional sports. It's funny how growing up, I was such a fan of hockey and various other professional sports. And when I started to come into my own with this stuff, I just naturally found that I was no longer as interested in pro sports. I just kind of lost interest. I wasn't like rejecting. I wasn't like, fuck pro sports, but I lost interest. Now, after sort of never watching any pro sports for a long time, I've changed a bit, where now I really enjoy pro sports again, but I'm watching it for the athleticism and for the incredible level of skill that these guys are bringing, and I'm a fan of that, but I'm not like cheering for laundry, as Jerry Seinfeld would call it, all right? I'm not so much like that anymore. Why? Because I identify with myself. I don't identify with the group as much anymore, all right? But what we have here is called spectatorism, all right? We're a spectator culture. Spectator culture basically means that we're constantly looking for other people to have the glory. We're looking at movies for the glory. You know, we watch TV, right? We're a TV watching nation. What's the average statistics on television watching? 6 hours a day? God. You know? How much advertising are you getting exposed to? Most people. And not only is that, you know, let's say it was even 4 hours a day, just to take it easy, or even 3. That is a lot of time being a spectator when the other, 7, 8 hours are spent working. And so essentially we're a spectator nation. We look at other people. We don't want the glory anymore, right? People would rather watch TV and look about the natural environment than go into the natural environment, which is another reason why we're also destroying the environment, right? Because people, they pollute because they don't understand that the natural environment is real. They've never even seen it. They don't care about the third world because they've never even seen it, okay? I made a specific point of living in South America for 3 months this year just because I hadn't seen these things. I want to see they're real. I spend a lot of time in nature now. I'm out in nature all the time, just hiking around, and especially in Hawaii. So the point is like, we're like this spectator nation, okay? It's just watching and watching and watching. Do you guys remember that one was it with John Kerry where that guy got tasered? Do you guys remember that? The student got tasered in a free speech discussion, and the security comes up and tasers him. He's like, "Don't tase me, dude." And he just gets tased, and everyone just goes, "Oh." And you know what they do? They go put it on YouTube. That's like the student form of protest, right? Like, we're not going to have a rally. We'll just tape it and put it on YouTube and blog about how nasty it was. That's the culture, all right? People stand by and they watch shit. They're not taking, they don't live their own lives. So see, when you see that like movie-style lifestyle, like the glorious life, like traveling, dating beautiful women, eating the food you want to eat, meeting the people that you want to meet, having the adventures that you want to have, it's so easy to stand there as a spectator and watch other people do it than to do it yourself. It's simpler. It's easier. They don't want the glory. It's safe. Yeah. I say, fuck that. Okay? The glory is to be had. That's what I say. The glory is to be had. This is your life. Turn the TV off. Turn off the web surfing. Okay? Turn that shit off. It's garbage. You can watch it a little bit. If you have a specific show that you just love and you look forward to it, watch it. Great. But the point is, don't waste time or channel surf. Stop looking at other people. You want to know something even more bizarre? On the boot camps, I'd say maybe this is only like a small percentage, but there's a certain percentage of people that come on boot camps, not even because they want to learn how to pick up girls, but because they actually just want to see the stuff that they read about as spectators. Okay? We call them super fans. All right? And a super fan is like a guy who's like, I read your stuff and it's amazing and I'm so looking forward to the boot camp so I can see it. And then they see it and I'll show it and they're like, wow. And it's like, do you want to, no, I just want to watch you, And they just want to see it, right? Like they want to see, especially with the publicity, the increased publicity, it's even more like that, where they just want to see it. People read my blog, right? And they'll be reading my blog, and they're reading it, but they have no interest in taking action. A huge percentage of them. It's like they're reading about some guy, oh, he's in South America now. It's like a book, right? Like, ooh, Tyler travels South America, chapter 12, Like, ooh, Tyler pulls the hot chick, chapter 10, like that, like it's not them. It's like they can just read about it and it seems glorious. They don't want it. They don't want to take a piece of it for themselves.
They don't believe it.
It's just it's so outside their reality that they can't see that, You know what I believe in? I believe in a life of your own design. Okay? I believe in that. That's one of the reasons why I moved to Hawaii. That's one of the reasons why I moved to South America. That's why I traveled. That's why I said I want to date the most beautiful and attractive women in the world. That's why I said I want to do work that I believe in, that I love. That's why, everything that I've done has been at least most of it, has been of my own design. And that's what I want to see for you guys, is not, and let me tell you something too. Even this job that I do with RSD, Real Social Dynamics, it's really great that everyone in this room is here to support me and to support the organization. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that. But you want to know something? Most people don't like this pickup stuff too much, do they? No. Right? They think, and you know, I don't think that I'm going to get the most gleaning reputation. Not only that, but this community is filled with a lot of commercial bickering and stuff like that, and I've had a little taste of that. Okay? So the thing is like, when I did RSD, I did hit a point, and I want to say this because I want you to look at your own lives. I hit a point where I said, I'm going to continue with this, or I'm going to stop, and I'm going to pack it up, and I'm going to go home. Why? Because I could get a job doing anything else. There's so many other jobs that I could get. Why did I stick with RSD? Because I asked myself, I said, do I love what I do? I said, yes. I said, if I were to quit, would it be because I don't want other people to look down on me, or would it be because I really want to quit? I said, it's because I would care what other people would think. So I said, well, I'm going to be this weird, freaky, bizarre, wildest celebrity that people think is weird, and I'm okay with that because I love what I do, and I made that choice. So don't ever doubt that even though I might sit up here saying, oh, live a life of your own intentions, that I'm not doing the same thing, because I'm always trying to lead by example. So the thing is, like, don't worry what other people think. Don't worry. Look, life is so short, okay? You remember when you're a kid, you think you're going to live to be 100 years old? Remember that? Then maybe later you find out you might only live till 70, right? Or even 50 or 60. How fast has your life gone by? Like, who here has hit 25 years old? Okay? How fast the last 25 years ago? Gone, right? Your life? Gone. Your life will blow by, okay? So do what you want. Do what you want, because this is all there is. This is it, man. Do what you want to do, all right? Fuck social conditioning and fuck what anybody thinks of you. As long as you know that what you're doing is good and you're offering value, not trying to take value from people, do what you want. Look, when you see a girl that you like, what's happening? Your mind is processing your value to her. Think about it, guys. See the girl that you like. Do I have enough value? Yes or no? Your mind is processing this. Is she out of your league? Do you live up to her standards? You know, are you good enough? Those kinds of things. Your mind is processing it. If you're going by other people's standards, as in you're looking for other people to dictate your identity, and you're looking for other people to tell you what you value out of life, you will always come up short. That's the bottom line. Even if you do live up to other people's standards, guess what? Even if you live up to other people's standards, you're still a dumb chode that tries and spends his day living up to other people's standards. Isn't that true? Even if you did it, even if you're successful, you still are coming from a foundational level where the way that you spend your days is reacting to other people's standards rather than dictating your own standards and pulling other people into your standards. But most of us don't know that we're allowed to do that. Most of us have not been trained or educated that we could do that. Most of us would never know that, hey, say that you're a science geek. Guess what? Maybe hot chicks would like that if you actually believed in it. You know, right? Maybe you are a dork, but you own your dorkiness, and you believe in it, and girls would like that. Maybe girls actually would prefer it that you stop trying to live up to other people's standards and that you just owned who you are. But most people don't realize that. And that's the thing. See, look, when you have your own sense of values, right? And I've talked about this before, and I'll cover it extremely briefly here. Say that some of my values are things like self-actualization, offering value to people, travel, education, and things like that, okay? And I see a beautiful, attractive girl. I see her, and I'm thinking about approaching her. Do I know that she has any of these qualities? Well, hey, I value beauty, and that's fine. So maybe she has one of my values. She has beauty. So she has one. And it's a great point to start. But it's not everything. Which means what? What does that mean? And remember, I'm coming from a place of abundance. I'm walking up to the girl, and as I'm speaking with her, am I trying to live up to her standards? No, she's trying to live up to my standards. Because that's coming across in the subcommunication. When a woman is chasing to live up to the guy's standards, okay, when she's chasing to live up to your standards, she's going to be far more attracted to you than when she can sense that you're trying to live up to her standards. Whenever you're meeting a woman, there's always a subtle vibe going on, who's reacting to who more. And so the more firm you are in your own sense of identity of who you are, and the stronger that you are in what you value, the more that you are going to be the one who's the more attractive individual in the interaction. All right? And then she's going to want your validation. Look, do an experiment, okay? I did experiments with this back in the day. A long time ago, I used to always try to think of the perfect thing that women would like to talk about, so I did an experiment. I said, what did I do today? I said, I did my taxes, all right? I was working on my taxes, and I read another book by Chuck Palahniuk by coincidence. So I said, tonight I'm going to go out and I'm going to talk about that and make it interesting. This was an experiment that I did when I was trying to become a natural. So I went out and I did the ultimate faux pas. I talked about taxes shit, okay? Right? The ultimate thing that you should never, ever talk about. And guess what? It worked. It was totally fine. The night went great. Why? Because what happens is, look, say that you're talking about some book that you read. Say you read some nerdy book, but you're the cool guy in the interaction. You're the cool one. She's suddenly, whereas before you're trying to think of all the stuff that she wants to talk about, she sees that you're firm in that, and if you're a funny guy and you vibe well, she's going to be trying to like keep up with that stuff. So she's like, oh, I read a book once. Do you like Harry Potter? You know, right? You know what I'm saying, right? And so the thing is, now she's trying to talk to you. But what most guys are doing is their whole core thought process is wrong right from the get-go, because they're trying to react to her standards now, and they're trying to get her to dictate their identity to them. So not only are most guys walking up going, you know, going, please tell me who I am. Like, tell me I'm cool by giving me indicators of interest so I can go into state. But not only that, they're also trying to live up to her values, trying to say the things that she's going to want to hear. And the woman is just not going to be attracted to that. Sometimes she might be. You might get away with it. But for the most part, it's not attractive. Instead, look, think back to high school. Has anyone here ever had an experience in high school where you're talking to one of the popular kids, and the popular kid starts talking about something that you're not even interested in. Maybe he's talking about some kind of rock group you're not interested in, and for some reason you find yourself trying to say whatever random facts that you know about that rock group, just trying to keep up with the conversation. Sure. Has anyone here ever done that? Yeah. So look, I remember, like, I never smoked weed growing up, okay? Never done it. And one of the reasons why is because all my friends do it, but I just found a lot of my friends got burnt out, so I didn't want to do it. Anyway, I remember the popular kids would talk to me about smoking weed, and I'd be like, oh, cool. What kind of weed was it? A indica or a sativa weed? You know, like shit like that. And pretending like as if I smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? When I don't. And hey, if you want to smoke weed, but don't do it because someone told you to. And the thing is like, I remember thinking, God, I'm such a bitch to be just like, you know, right? Like even at 15 or 16, I knew this. Like, why am I pretending this, right? Where's my integrity here, you know? I probably didn't verbalize it like that at 15, but that's essentially what the seed of a thought. And so, essentially, that's what most people are doing in conversations. The one who has the quote-unquote higher value, the other person is trying to live up to their values. And they're looking to have that person dictate to them their identity. And this is what social conditioning creates. Spectatorism, looking towards other people for self-esteem, looking at the surface of things, never the depth. We'll go into what that means later. The point is, this is the effect that social conditioning is having, all right? And this is what you need to shake yourself out of. You need to be shook and loose. Look at it this way. When there's a vacuum that exists, if you don't know that you're supposed to have your own values, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know who you are, if you don't have a clear concept of who you are, there's a vacuum. The vacuum exists, and you're going to be continually sucking value from people, trying to find out who you are and what you should think.